Like,
I was really excited. I mean, I don't like the Haunted Mansion as much as you do, but I like the Haunted Mansion a lot. And I was like, we're going to get the, like, I'm sure they were going to make like an orb with her face in it and everything.
It's a sticker. There's weirdly an inside, considering how tiny it is.
Just like the disappointment I feel.
They have a mini scale line because there's a mini scale castle.
It's not what I'm looking for. It's not what I'm after.
It's also I will allow this, of course, but this is the Disneyland Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
And I'm of course partial to the
Disney World.
It's because the Disneyland one is a plantation. Yeah. And I think the Disney World one is a more proper mansion, like also, a New England haunted mansion.
Sorry to break it to everybody. Disney World is better. It just is.
Do not leave this in, Will.
Do leave it in. I am willing to fight for this.
This is war. You just threw down a gauntlet. Somewhere Jen is like seething and she doesn't know why.
She likes Disneyland better? Jennifer.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching This Show, your new favorite pop culture podcast talk show where we talk about movies, TV, music, and more. We are not doing these as frequently because I started to say this is So I'm Watching Thor Love and Thunder. And I was like, nope. I mean, this is So I'm talking about Thor Love and Thunder. Woo, woo, wee.
You never forget your first. The other gods of kill. Because I have something worth fighting for.
We've been a lot more focused on TV than movies lately. I'm sort of
fine with it.
I'm over the movie theater for the moment, which makes me really sad. But
did you not have a good time?
No, last time was fine.
Oh, I was like, last night was great.
No, last night was great, but just in general, it's gonna take me a lot to get into the theater for a while.
I do have to start by saying I am so sorry because I had a shopping cart planned and none of the things. Well, it was when I got my new Meg doll, which is mildly on theme. She's Greek.
Sure, she's related to gods and stuff.
To a very particular spoiler that we'll get to in a minute. Did I say that part? This is a spoiler show. That's the important part.
Yeah.
You've been warned from here on out. So I was getting her and I had a Valkyrie figure because I'd been to 4 different Targets and I can't find her.
Oh, still.
So I had the Valkyrie figure. I had a Thor t-shirt. That's the main reason why I didn't get it is because the Thor t-shirt wasn't going to ship in like 3 to 5 weeks.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I was like, that's not going to help me. And then I had dual plushies of Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder.
What is your problem, okay?
I just did I didn't have the money. I was like, it was gonna be so much. And on that note, if you would like to contribute to Patreon, you can donate at patreon.com/So I'm Watching This Show. And we also have a Cash App and a Venmo. And you are in luck. We are in the process of amping up the Patreon. We're going to have the entirety of season 2 of True Blood and season 2 of Riverdale soon. So if you are interested, please there.
We are also in the very beginning process of making some merch. Finally, we've had a handful of people ask us if we have merch in the past, and we're working on it. We're very excited. Also, everything links out from our website, soimwatching.com, if you don't want to type everything. So,
which is also back up in case you're wondering. Lots of updates. So imagine that there is a Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder.
And a Valkyrie.
So the goat's soulless eyes worked so well with them being idiots.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well, they also sort of partially to me, it sort of seemed like they were just low key terrified also at like what they were having to do.
They're mythologically accurate.
No, I know.
They pull his like chariot or I guess boat. I don't quite remember, but
Viking ship.
So before we get into it even more, did you like this?
I loved it.
Did you?
Yeah.
I loved it too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna critique it a bit. It's gonna sound like, first of all, well, okay, here's my issue. I loved it so much, I would like to see the rest of it.
So, yes, like usually when I see movies like this and I'm just having a great time and I loved it, I don't think about any negatives until my husband says something negative.
That's very.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it did just like go.
It was like a bullet train.
It was. I kind of loved that about it, but then we got to talking about it a little in the car, and I was like, you know what though, it would have been great to be in like Olympus for like a little bit longer. Like that part, I think could have stretched. We could have had a couple more like sort of emotional scenes or something. I'm gonna go on a limb and say something that I feel kind of weird about saying. I maybe could have spent another scene with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. Okay.
You've hit all of the talking points. The quality and caliber of the cast and crew were able to make it work.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, starting with the opening scene, Gorr the God Butcher, daughter, the gods forsake him, daughter dies, he vows revenge. It's like, it's very, very rote. And because those are such classic themes, and did you know Christian Bale is a really good actor?
In fact, I did.
I loved Gorr. I thought he was on par with Hela.
I liked him quite a lot. Reaching back a little to our conversation about merch, I felt a little man pain from him. That I was like, I'm just sort of bored. You're not the first person whose daughter has died. And like, you know.
But I find it interesting that he was the first that had the ability to
that part's
do
interesting.
Something about it.
So, and the fact that we didn't get a very including my son moment from him was very helpful. I did. And the way that he was sort of zany about it, like, especially with the Asgardian kids, it was very impressive. I haven't enjoyed a Christian Bale performance like I enjoyed this one since like The Prestige.
Sure. Okay.
I've been having a real up and down with Christian Bale lately.
I was just surprised how much I liked it. And the thing is, it's like I said, I mean, you know, he had a daughter, she died, and, you know, we'll get to it in a minute, but the daughter plays into the movie again. Yeah. I just sort of wanted or needed a little bit more from her in order to earn what they do.
Sure.
And I think it works so well based on, like I said, the cast and crew's like sheer force of will alone.
Yeah.
This is everything that I love. And I am constantly,
more merch?
Gods and monsters. Give me gods and monsters. I want 100%. Gods. I want monsters. And I got it. And I'm going to be greedy. I want more. I wanted more.
No, I totally agree with you. And so that's the other thing is like the only other complaint, the real complaint that my husband had is that there is still not even a glimmer that anything that's come out in Phase 4 is connected to each other, which is really like Darcy didn't even mention Wanda. You know what I mean?
It's unforgivable.
It's unforgivable.
Okay, bless them for giving us the like. I'm not even going to call it fan service. I think it was necessary. I needed to see Darcy. I needed to see Solveig.
Yeah.
And even though they're fleeting, I think we needed that. We needed that some other bridge connecting the Thor saga other than Chris Hemsworth.
Absolutely.
And we're apologists for the first two. They
Yeah, I think I just
genuinely like them.
Yeah.
You know?
I like the first one better than the second one, but that's not to say I don't like the second one. And even a couple of years ago when we rewatched them all in time for Endgame and Infinity War, I was like, this movie's actually great. You guys are all crazy. Like it's not bad.
Well, you got so used to the talking point that it was bad that when you were rewatching it, there's like a lot of good material in it.
Yeah, it's the exact same as with Iron Man 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It might not be an excellent standalone movie. Like it might not be an excellent beginning, middle, and end, but the material in it.
Do you know what it's perfect at? Being what it needs to be within the whole.
And that's sort of because this gives me, I've used this comparison a lot, but Thor Love and Thunder gives me a really solid episode of one of your favorite TV shows.
Yeah.
Where it's not the one that's going to win the Emmy. It's not the one that you're gonna like.
But it's still your favorite.
Or you still love it. Or maybe even it's a good one to get someone new into it.
Sure.
Because I think that as the MCU balloons, I think a new person. I think that my brother could watch this movie, get it, and like it. I don't think you have to have seen the 28 movies prior.
No, not necessarily.
And somewhere like the Multiverse of Madness could feel
alienating,
convoluted. You know what I mean? And so I think this one will play well for the whole summer. And I think it's good for kids. It's good for adults. It managed to balance the tone. There's some risque elements and stuff that I feel like we haven't gotten since like the 80s and 90s, where remember they used to slip some, side boob into
or like a butt.
Yeah.
Basically, all of that was to say that while I agree, I would love a little more, I would love to think that these are all connected in some capacity. I would love to have proof that they're all connected, but I had so much fun watching it that it didn't even occur to me.
So it's a very common issue with like comic books after they do the big event, the big crossover event. You kind of have to undo all the work and start over again.
Right.
And it's called something, I can't think of it. It's not like place setting, but it's not uncommon for there to be sort of like well, now what?
Well, and I keep comparing it to season 4 of Buffy. If you don't know where season 4 of Buffy is going, and I think it works especially because this is phase 4. So it's like at the beginning and throughout season 4 of Buffy, if you don't know where it's going and you don't know that in like the 3rd or 4th to last episode, all of these emotional beats are going to come to a head and like everything is going to make sense and everything's coming together and you're realizing what's been happening the whole time, it feels like a mess. But once you get to the end of it, you're like, oh my God, all of that stuff, it all makes sense. And so I'm like really hoping that's what we're doing.
Yeah, because for me with like phase 4, this Shang-Chi and Spider-Man are the 3 that I have really enjoyed and the 3 that are sticking with me. I like aspects of Multiverse of Madness.
I was going to say, I really, really liked 3/4 of Black Widow.
But it was a phase 3 movie.
So
they claim
not a phase 3. Well, it was, but yeah. No, you're right. I just like it is also sort of moot because what's the point?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I want to have faith in Marvel. I think it's been okay. Endgame, we loved Endgame so much, and Endgame is
well, it was also unprecedented.
I was gonna say it's as far as I'm concerned, it's as close to like a perfect movie, like especially for quadrant tent pole franchise, whatever.
And as like a culmination of the whole thing.
And we've never seen anything like it before, and so it's like I think it is good for us to go ahead and ground ourselves, ground our expectations. And one of the ways that I think that they should be succeeding is by bringing in these auteurs to take these movies in different directions. Yeah. The issue is I feel like they're not letting them do it. There is apparently Taika Waititi's initial cut of this movie is pushing 4 hours. I don't know that I think it needed that.
I think it could. It is 2 hours, like 1 hour and 59 minutes long. I think it could have been 2.5.
And there's also, this did a thing sort of like Shang-Chi where if the rest of phase 4 can manage to do this, then I'll take it all back. But it was able to retroactively earn stuff for me. Like this movie, the montage scene of Thor and Jane dating to Our Last Summer makes me less angry at Age of Ultron.
Sure. Like why she's not there.
Yeah. I feel like I was watching deleted scenes or something. And it sort of, because Shang-Chi did it sort of retroactively earning Ben Kingsley.
Yep.
And it's like, if they can manage to do that, it I think softens and rounds out the story as a whole. And also it just, it's what I'm loving so much about Taika Waititi's take on Thor is there's just this weird absurdity to Thor's place. Watching him, apparently he was sort of just living on Earth being a boyfriend.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
I love it.
And
you're right. I think especially the fact that it was set to ABBA's Our Last Summer is, I mean, incomparable. It's so good.
I want to wax poetic about how good Chris Hemsworth is as Thor, and it feels redundant because we've done it so much, and I keep reminding myself that like new people are constantly coming in, but he is so good. He has such an iron grip on this character. He's the first of the Marvel heroes to have 4 movies, and let's be honest, a 5th is coming.
Oh, for sure.
This is a middle chapter of,
and especially as long as you let Taika keep it, It's going to be good.
And they even said Thor will return.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whether that in what capacity, I don't know, but that's sort of the unofficial, official.
Yeah. I love too that he is sort of like vaguely ingratiated in like multiple parts of the group. Like he is very in the Guardians of the Galaxy now. He was very in the Avengers. He's kind of in his own thing with Valkyrie and Lady Thor in this one. And or the Mighty Thor, apologies, aka Dr. Jane Foster. But I just think he's very seamlessly able to enter into all of these different aspects, all these different sections of the Avengers.
He's like malleable.
As much as I love Chris Evans, Captain America, I don't think Steve Rogers seamlessly fits into all these groups like that.
We got to talk about the Guardians. Yeah. I believe that they're probably a lot of the material on that cutting room floor. I think I'll have to wait and see. From where I'm sitting now, I think it's borderline unforgivable.
I won't go that far, but what I will say is that I also, you talked about auteurs a minute ago. I think it is big fun watching people take over people who have already been done by, like watching Taika's take on the Guardians. Like it's not different. But it's like,
I like his.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Chris Pratt or if it's Taika or if it's just where Star-Lord is at this point.
Yeah.
But I sort of love that it's not that he seems at the end of his rope.
He's a little at the end of his rope.
But he's just sort of like, he looks road hard and he's over the whole thing.
Yeah.
It was very funny. I would like to believe it was intentional. We get such barely a taste of them. I almost feel that it's worse than like the Riverdale Oh No, a Bear.
Sure.
Like I almost wish that we just picked up with Thor being like, bye. That was fun. Like I guess he doesn't really have relationship. Like I was like, I wanted Nebula to have a scene. And she just, especially after her, because she spent time with him in Endgame.
Well, that's the other thing too. You were about to say he doesn't have relationships with them, but presumably they've been together for years now. So he would have relationships with all of them. I agree with that.
I love Mantis's new look.
Yeah. For you future watchers, I'm thinking about making my hair green in the fall. So keep you posted.
And Kraglin was so good. There was a scene it was in one of the montages, one of the many montages, and he's still trying to learn how to use the arrow, and it shot right up his nose.
Yeah. Very funny.
And he's also maybe married. I can't wait to see if she's going to be in Guardians.
He's also maybe been married on every planet they go to, and they have had to keep having talks with him. I also love that Mantis and Nebula were like immediately trying to murder the goats. Because they were just screaming around the ship.
I was a little thrown that the goats, because I was like, the goats are Asgardian, but so I'm not entirely sure. Like, I don't have a firm grasp on this universe's relationship to the gods, to each particular, because it makes it seem like the Asgardians are dead and gone, which I mean, Ragnarok. So that's a dumb point. I don't know.
Well, also, I mean, Frigga, Loki, Frigga and Odin had both already died, and Loki died
and Hela
during, and then Hela died during. So it's like,
wow, no, that but I'm like, you can't just take out the entire Norse pantheon, and it's like, well, they did. We watched it happen.
Who knows if anybody was like away from Asgard? I mean,
Well, spoiler alert. Valhalla is in play. I think that jumping around as we do, I think we'll get to it in a minute.
Also, Lady Sif is still alive.
I was going to be furious
if she didn't have a second scene.
And it was, I mean, minuscule. She didn't even have a line in the second scene, but it was the implication that she's still alive. Because I was like, so did she die? I was like, did we really bring her back for that one thing? Mm-hmm. And just the fact that they brought her back in a separate scene, in a separate location, separate set, I was like, okay, I feel better about this.
Also, little rude to there was like a voiceover at the beginning, and they were like, and then this guy died, and then that guy died, and then that one too, and I was like,
I don't even remember this guy.
The Warriors 3, you dick. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, to be fair, I cannot remember their names.
No, me neither.
No.
No. Josh Dallas and then Zachary Levi.
I remember that part.
I don't remember either. Fair enough. Complaint withdrawn.
The second they say it, because it's him.
Heimdall is Idris
No,
Elba.
I know Heimdall is Idris Elba. Fandral. That's not an age.
Okay.
Fandral's what. Fandral, Hogan, and Volstagg.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, regardless. I was really glad that they did the cancer plotline because that is from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did it pretty well. I think it hit the notes it needed to. I love New Asgard. I just wanted to spend more time everywhere.
So cute.
I also love that Luke Hemsworth and Matt Damon had a second scene because it makes them feel like they're actually part of the universe and not just this weird, because there's like an inside joke Easter egg quality to it where I'm like, did that even happen?
Right. Yeah.
And it like, I wanted the reveal to be
that it's actually Matt Damon.
No. I believe he's an Asgardian because he was on Asgard.
Sure.
I wanted the reveal to be Melissa McCarthy was playing Melissa McCarthy.
Oh, and she's just like doing like an acting workshop?
No, I wanted her to be like, can I get my check? Like,
because her husband was like one of the tour guys. Ben Falcone was there too.
Oh, I assumed he was part of the production. I was like, I think it's safe to say it wasn't an excellent production. But
I also, one of the trivia pieces says that this is the 4th time that Matt Damon has played an iteration of the character Loki, if you're including Dogma, because he's Loki in Dogma.
There was not enough Meek. Also, is Meek a girl?
I don't know.
I think they used female pronouns, and then it looked like she was wearing like a suit, like a women's suit.
Meek is voiced by a woman.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know.
I didn't realize Meek was a girl. That's funny.
It's super funny.
How did you feel about Korg? I loved Korg.
Yeah.
I saw some, well, I didn't see some, but like people have said it was maybe too much Korg.
I don't know about that. It goes like maybe one little toe over the line of like a director putting his own character too much in the movie, but I don't know. He's got that Taika New Zealand accent and just like saying ridiculous, stupid shit. I don't know. I kind of loved it. His
like stupid pants.
Yeah.
I want so many dolls from this movie. Yeah. And Korg, I mean, I like Korg, but I would never be prioritizing that. And with the pants alone, I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah.
I want a Korg. I just love how he kind of, he can absolutely exist on a human plane and communicate with humans, but it's sort of that like Shelley Hennig from Teen Wolf or Anya on Buffy.
Sure.
Where there's just there's an element of it that's a little too literal or a little too. Absolutely. I thought that they had actually killed him in this. I was surprised.
I was gonna be sad. I was gonna be pretty sad.
But they have his face. I just love Valkyrie. I want to say I could have used a little bit more, but I think that ties into the whole movie using a little bit more.
Yeah. She wears a lot of suits in like a montage at the beginning. Also, Tessa Thompson has never looked better.
I love
incredible.
The braids, the long braids.
She is for like 40 minutes of this movie wearing a Phantom of the Opera sweatshirt. I don't know why. I don't care why. I'm obsessed with it.
That was my favorite. And also, I love that her and Jane are like pals.
Friends, yeah.
And we really only get that one scene.
We could have used more scenes with them for sure.
Yeah, because I think that's really, really interesting. Where with Thor coming back home, and then like who has my hammer? Who is this? And also, it's my ex.
Yeah.
And also, how does she have a relationship with Valkyrie? Valkyrie's my friend. Like, what are you doing? Like that weird jealousy.
And it's like, dude, you've been.
But also FOMO, like
you've been guarding the galaxy for like 3+ years.
I think they could have hit that just a little bit stronger. Also, I missed it. I didn't catch it, but apparently Valkyrie's horse has a name.
Oh yeah, I didn't catch it either.
I want the name. I was gonna say we didn't get enough of it because it doesn't go on the journey, but then Jane rides it into battle later. Because it's not. This is one of my like
super heroine. No, sorry. That's like the title of the thing, but it just says it's like Valkyrie the superheroine, but it's not in a different font. So I like Brunhilde? Aragorn?
Brunhilde is Valkyrie's name at one point in the comics.
Okay, Valkyrie usually rides a winged horse called Aragorn.
Aragorn, okay.
And carries an enchanted spear called Dragon Fang.
It was there.
Yeah.
Aragorn.
Yeah, like
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Because I was going to say...
This is like, sorry, this is also like actual Valkyrie, not the MCU Valkyrie.
I'm sure it's the same.
Yeah.
This is my nerd shit, but people keep calling it a Pegasus, and Pegasus is a name. Winged horse is named Pegasus. It's not a type of creature.
Yeah.
This is so me. I've said it to you a million times. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to let it... I let it go already, but I kind of can't get over that they named this Thor Love and Thunder, and then they don't put Freya or Aphrodite in it. And it's exactly what I think we needed in the middle of the movie is I think when they go to Omnipotent City, I hate that name. I just keep calling it.
It's basically Olympus.
Yeah, but it's not because
it's not just Greek,
yeah,
but it's...
They needed to be there longer. They needed to stay the night. Like they needed to be trying to court Zeus.
Yep.
And he needed to sort of keep making them play along in his like shenanigans. And that's where we could have gotten Aphrodite.
Yeah.
And either she came on to Thor too much and Jane oversees and gets mad and gets her feelings hurt, even though that's a little bit cliche. Or better yet, maybe she sleeps with Valkyrie.
Either way.
We absolutely needed it. I just think that the love part of Love and Thunder is absolutely there, but I think there could have been a more literal
I agree.
element.
Yeah.
And I loved it so much. I loved it so much. It looked so good. It looked so cool. There were so many gods. There were so many different gods.
Some of them were huge. Quetzalcoatl was there with the headdress, the like feather headdress. He looked so cool.
There was like a weird, like never-ending story dragon and a giant snake. Because there was the bow god, the little dumpling.
So funny.
And there was Athena.
Yeah,
she was there. Dionysus, played by Simon Russell Beale from Penny Dreadful. Oh. Bast was there. Also, the wolf woman.
I did see Bast. Yeah, that's right.
The wolf woman that Thor sleeps with is Elsa Pataki.
Oh, funny. Okay, that's nice.
And then we did get Eternity, which is, I guess, technically a god. It looked great.
It
looked amazing. I loved the Rainbow Bridge looked better. The space dolphins. It's like that kind of shit.
The space dolphins were really cool.
I wanted to like steep in it a little bit.
You know what it reminded
more.
me of is the sky jellies from Love and Monsters.
No, I just wanted to steep in it a little bit more.
It was like there was an immediacy to the story, which is that the kids were like taken, like all of the Asgardian kids were taken. That is the plot, which was kind of strange. I do wish that we got to see Gorr the God Butcher butchering a few more gods. I wanted more gods. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sue me. No, same.
Because I liked that he was actually kind of scary. His eyes were scary. The shadow monsters were fucking scary.
Super scary.
I wasn't entirely sure why he stole the kids, but I thought it was interesting.
Just to lure Thor. Because he needed
Stormbreaker. I love that Stormbreaker was jealous of Mjolnir.
Oh my God.
Must be hard for you to see your ex-girlfriend and your ex-hammer hanging out and getting on so well. What you up to, bro?
Go to daddy.
No, Mjolnir.
Hey, there you are. Hey. I was just calling you.
Also, Mjolnir is like doing it because where it's cracked from Hela breaking it, it now can split apart as projectiles and then come back together. Mm-hmm. So cool.
And now
the first time it did that, I was like,
now it has part of the like
the necro sword.
Yeah,
inside it.
Something I don't know. And the movie did a really good job of answering my questions because when Jane sort of like is just like, what about Mjolnir? And I was like, that was convenient. And then she goes there and it's like, and I'm like, where did this come from? But then like 10 minutes later, we find out that it's because Thor basically asked it to look out for her. And I just like.
So cute.
How did you feel about them?
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Natalie Portman. We've talked a lot about Natalie Portman on the show because we've done a lot of Natalie Portman vehicles. I think she is an exceptional actress. And I think my favorite Natalie Portman is when she is awkward as fuck. And she doesn't do it very often because she's a very poised woman. And she really made a decision. She really tried hard when she was young. And she maintains that. But sometimes she's so goofy and awkward in performances. I love it. I'm obsessed. And they are so weird and awkward together. And when she keeps on trying to come up with Thor catchphrases.
There was a part of me that was like, I don't want them to try, because the marketing has been her being badass. And of course we want that. But I'm like, don't overdo it. Don't overdo it.
I don't think they did.
They didn't.
Yeah.
And because I even said, I was like,
a
I love that she's
nerd.
kind of bad at being Thor. And like, she's great at the action part.
Yeah.
But like,
Well, I even said in the car yesterday, it's like the Buffy bot in season 6 of Buffy who like can't get the puns right. And she can't come up with a Thor catchphrase. And so it's very...
eat my hammer.
Yeah, and so it's very... That'll put marzipan in your pie plate bingo. It's like, that's the energy that it was bringing to me the whole time.
And I thought that their chemistry was there. I thought it was good. And it's not there in Dark World. It's semi there in the first Thor. And she hit that because I said in the theater, I love her delivery in the first Thor when she goes to the hospital. And she's like...
Name? He said it was Thor?
And we get a little bit of that energy here.
Yeah. I don't think it's their fault that they don't have chemistry in the second one. I think they were doing that thing where they're like, well, these characters are in love and soulmates. And that's just taken as read. And I'm like, I need evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are we doing?
I like how much Jane was her own character in this movie. It didn't feel like she stopped existing when he wasn't there to be in love with her.
Right.
And I like that she was sort of angry. And I like that they touched on, they didn't beat us over the head with it, but they touched on a lot of issues with like the cancer and all that. And I think even sort of like, contrasting that with Gorr the God Butcher, it was very him with the kids in the like spider prison when he just comes
like
out of the dark.
From the back.
It's so good.
Spooky.
I loved him scaring the kid. I almost basically more. I loved everything. I wanted more. I wish it was a little bit scarier, but I liked the some of the weird effects, like how the Gorr planet.
Oh, the black and white was so
well.
Cool.
The black and white was so cool, but how it like it kind of reminded me of the Adventures of Baron Munchausen.
Yeah, the moon,
where they just sort of like slam into it, and they were. It was too big or too small, or like physics didn't work on it the right way. That kind of stuff. I loved it.
Yeah, me too.
I loved it so much. When he ripped the head off that snake and like threw it at the kids, it was so good. I love that at the end, Thor just basically makes all the kids gods, and they just like beat the tar out of all these shadow monsters.
He does the thing. He's like, whosoever holds these weapons shall, for a limited time only, possess the power of Thor.
But imagine being a kid. Yeah. Imagine being like 11 or 12 and watching this movie. I would have lost my goddamn mind.
Me too.
Like, and I never thought I'd be saying this, but I'm not a big Russell Crowe fan, but he was so good in this movie with his minimal screen time.
I think Russell Crowe should do more comedy because he's actually pretty good at comedy.
His Zeus was inspired because I think Liam Neeson was a phenomenal Zeus.
Sure, he looks the part. He's got that
and
gravitas,
he has the regality
Irish
and all that.
Yeah.
I like this sort of like over the hill
Greek, old Greek,
the accent,
old fat Greek man.
The accent, him coming down the stairs with the skirt flourish.
Yeah.
Oh God. And that's why I was like, I wanted more.
Yeah.
I just like, spoiler alert, he is not dead.
Yeah.
So I'm happy there.
It took him out long enough for them to like escape, but he's not dead.
So yeah, I guess like the end was also, I'm not entirely sure I followed it. Gorr was going to get to eternity because once you got to eternity, and eternity is an entity, it's a being at the center of the universe, and you can ask it for a wish. And he was going to wish that all the gods died. But then because Stormbreaker was the key and he got it. And Thor convinced him to ask for his daughter back. I don't know. It didn't feel quite as
but then
organic.
He died.
Why did Gorr die? I don't. It did sort of like.
Well,
it was a little like Deus Ex Machina, and not in the literal sense that a god from above descended, but in sort of we're like, and this is the end of the movie.
Well, it's like apparently he might have already been dying, but the source of his power was the sword, so they broke the sword, and so that
like I was like I was saying the contrast with Jane and the hammer and the cancer and Gorr and well, maybe a few more scenes would have really.
Well, I also think he kind of traded his life for his daughter.
Okay.
He would have preferred if she lived as opposed to himself. And so I get it. It was also, it's not that peaceful dying of dehydration. Just, I don't want to watch a child suffer through dehydration, but I'm just saying it's worse than that.
I also wanted a little bit more of a motivation from what that initial god. Like I almost wish that he was being actively cruel. Like I wish he had waited until she died to then make it rain or something. It was just so like aside. It was so I don't know. There was.
I would imagine that's how gods.
Sure. Operate. I mean, relatable.
Yeah.
I like that the question, the grand question in life is there a god? And I like that Thor was like, yeah, but they don't care. And it's like, oh, okay.
Well, that's like, I actually just sent it to Rachel this morning. There's an excellent interview with Stephen Fry where this man asks him, he's like, if you are, because he's an atheist, and he's like, if you are wrong and God is real and you go up to the pearly gates and like, what would you say to him? And he would be like, how dare you? And he's like, now, if I got somewhere after I die and it's like the Greek pantheon, then that's fine. Like he basically was like, no notes, because they are not hypocritical about their capriciousness. They just are like, I don't care about this. And I'm telling you to your face that I don't care about it. They're not pretending that they're omnipotent and omniscient and everything. And I like, it's really good. Living. Yeah.
That's a different conversation.
No, of course it is.
Because
I just like think it's
I understand
similar.
and I don't agree. And there is a brilliant episode of Futurama that encapsulates why that's not the case. But also, again, I could have used a little bit more of that in this movie. I think Taika Waititi can wax poetic in a way that I wish Marvel had let him.
Sure.
I wish that maybe it was a little bit more thoughtful here or there, because Thor ends this movie with a daughter, and I loved it. I love the scene. It's his little girl.
It's Gorr the God Butcher's daughter.
But it's Chris Hemsworth's daughter.
Oh, is it? I wondered. I was curious.
I loved it. I was fine with it, but I wish there was a precedent. Like I wish it was sort of rooted somewhere in the movie.
Well, it was. When in one of the Korg voiceovers, he said something about Thor was looking to the future, and he's like making eyes at a baby wherever they are.
Sure. Although, I mean, you kind of said it all when you said voiceover.
Well,
show don't tell, but
I mean, showed and told. It was like during one of the montages. Yeah,
I just wanted a little bit more.
Sure.
Jane
don't disagree. I'm just saying there was one
showed the work
piece of framework.
Jane does die. It's the kind of thing that like it's shocking until you're like, oh, there's no other way that could have gone.
So I actually thought she was cured until the scene where she goes back in the bathroom and she's like not getting better. And then I was like, oh, she's dying.
That's part of the comic. It like the more she uses it, the like worse off she gets.
Yeah.
I think it's right. I think that, I mean, it would be cool to have Natalie Portman's Mighty Thor rattling around, but based on, what they're showing us in phase 4, I think it's probably right. I think that it's probably the curtain call that
I like it because I appreciate that we got a proper send off, and it's not just Jane's writing a book.
And again, I think it retroactively earns some of the stuff that at the time I was like, I don't like that.
Yeah. And
I do love that was the scene, the second end credit scene, that she goes to Valhalla. I love that she got to go to Valhalla. Yeah. I love that we get a glimpse of it. I think it was awesome seeing Heimdall, seeing Idris Elba, and his son is prominent
kids,
through
yeah.
the entire movie.
Axel.
I think it is unforgivable that it's not Frigga.
I mostly agree with that.
Especially when you consider that Frigga is in Valhalla and because she died saving Jane, protecting Jane. The only reason why I am okay with it is because she got such a gorgeous encore, such a gorgeous curtain call in Endgame.
But that was with Thor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't feel like it wouldn't have felt like a
Jane,
retread.
I don't know who Heimdall is to Jane in a way that Jane spent time with Frigga.
Yeah.
And we got a young Frigga in this movie with the baby Thor. And I just sort of...
Let me ask you a weird philosophical type of question. Is there a version of Loki in Valhalla?
I would love to know.
He technically did die.
I would love to know. And I
guess it wasn't in battle, but he...
No, he did.
That wasn't a battle.
Yes.
Oh, it was. Yeah, it was the end of a battle. No, you're correct.
Well,
I forget.
The Thanos killing him
Yeah.
for trying to... That counts.
Yeah.
And I kind of cannot... I think it's also unforgivable that Lady Sif's arm was not there.
Just sitting there on a bench
or walking around because it's so Taika, it feels like.
Uh-huh.
I can't. I don't know how they fumbled that.
Especially because Thor specifically tells Sid, like she is doing a whole ass like Thor 1 warrior thing where she's like, I have to die and go to Valhalla. And he's like, actually, it only counts if you die during the battle. If you die after, you don't go. And she sort of is like, oh. He's like, your arm is probably in Valhalla. Like, he says the words, your arm is there. And I like, you're right. It's unforgivable.
Yeah. Hercules.
I'm not even super pumped about the Hercules part of it. I don't even really care about that. It's the fact.
How dare you?
It's fine. I'm excited. I think it's great. But like, it's Brett Goldstein from Roy Kent from Ted Lasso. I'm obsessed. Obsessed. I love him so much. All he literally says is, I'll do it, Dad, or whatever. And I just was like, yes.
I think they're going to set it up that he's like the villain of 5 or that he's like coming after Thor. And I think we will make it a maximum of 22 minutes into the movie before they best friend the shit out of each other.
Okay.
That's truly.
They both have like withholding weird dads and stuff. Sure.
Been just utterly through the ringer.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I hope they fast track this shit. I hope and predict this movie will be a big hit. I think, like I said, I think it's broad enough. I think you don't have to be steeped in MCU lore for it to work. I think kids will like it. I think I almost think that it's weirdly accessible.
Yeah. I think they said it's already on track to be like the 5th biggest Marvel opening ever.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, anyways, that's all I've got for now. It's probably plenty. So, loved it. I think that there's a lot of places it could have been better, but that's not a crime.
No.
And I am not even remotely interested in comparing it or contrasting it with Ragnarok. That seems to be everybody what they're obsessed with doing, and I'm just not.
No, also, those are two just like Thor's at such wildly different emotional places. And
I mean, Ragnarok's better, but that's not the point. It's like Ragnarok was sort of like a once in a blue moon.
But I don't think this one is demonstrably worse. So,
also, well, Valkyrie is gay. We didn't get a lot of it, but they did put a punctuation mark on it. And also, Korg is, or just from a race of only males?
I don't know, but he's decided to hold hands over a lava pit with another one named Dwayne.
I wish Dwayne was in this. We needed more. We needed to meet Dwayne. They needed to have a meet cute.
Sure.
We needed more. I loved it. We needed more.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. More popcorn.
I definitely spent $25.
Well, you got the better end of the deal because I spent $7 on my just small popcorn, and so It's like a quarter of what you spent.
Watch this space for Thor
Yeah.
dolls in like 5 years.
5
God
years.
knows.
Yeah. We still don't even have Loki from Endgame.
They've pushed his release date back 4 times.
I'm so mad.
I had to like,
You had to like re-buy him, right?
I not like spend more money, but it like,
You had to reconfirm. Yeah.
mhm, it was this
Oh, yeah.
thing.
All right.
So,
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at So I'm Watching, Instagram at So I'm Watching This Show. We also, like we mentioned before, have a website, soimwatching.com, which links out to everything. If you'd like to support us, you can do so here, and just keep your eyes out because we are working on a lot of stuff. So, awesome. Bye.